parents, especially the opposite sex.
Yeah, that's definitely not common in America.
So one was kind of weird. It says over 20 years old, 6%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty shocking. At the same time, as someone that's always trying to get along with the group, you kind of lose your opinion and your thoughts. And so you don't actually think.
I have to put others' feeling before what I want to do. So I never get to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That sucks. So.
Konnichiwa minasan. Kyo desu. Shocking facts on how Japanese kids are raised. That's the video I'm going to react to today. But before that, guys, just make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel.
This whole entire process the last 5 months has kind of opened our eyes to how Japanese raise their children. And we wanted to specifically talk about that in this video. Maiko is Japanese, I am Filipino-American, raised in the States. We kind of want to share what we're going through here in Japan, trying to raise Wolfie. You know, some of the surprises that we've had along the way, especially surprises for me because, you know, Maiko grew up in Japan, so she experienced a lot of this. But this is kind of like what the stereotypical way to raise a Japanese kid would be. But again, it doesn't apply to everyone. Everyone's different.
In this video, I decided to join because I did experience being raised in Japan.
Yeah.
And I have Japanese parents.
Yes.
So I just wanted to share my experience with you guys.
Say hello to everyone before you go. Hey, everyone.
Kawaii. Honto kawaii. Kawaii.
There you go. You're such a smiley boy. Love you. Bye-bye. So this one is kind of crazy. Japanese moms spend only 2 hours away from their baby each week. Whereas I think compared to American mothers, they'll spend 24 hours away from their baby. So basically there's like no time.
I find that in Asian communities a lot too.
Right? At least in Japan. Why do you think that is?
Well, in Japan, babysitters are not so common. I mean, it's changing like nowadays since like there's more working mothers. But back in the days, I think there's no babysitters, and people expect you mothers to almost like suffer and like give everything, you know, for baby is actually like a good thing. They value suffering of the mother.
So basically, you're like a more respected mother. Like you're sacrificing for the big babies and for the kids. That's kind of surprising to us, but you know, times are changing, so that's not necessarily the case for maybe some parents these days, but it's still one of the kind of mindsets that a lot of parents have in Japan. So the next thing was, I don't know if it was so much of a shocker, but I kind of anticipated it just because of the size of our apartment, but the sleeping arrangements here in Japan and sleeping in the same room with your baby and with your child. In fact, if you've seen our day in the life video with Wolfie, then you know that he sleeps in the same room with us. Not in the
if you
same
have a
bed,
small
but
apartment.
he has a crib right next to our bed. I think 88% of kids between 0 and 3 sleep in the same room with their parents, and about like 69% of kids like sleep in the same bed as their parents. But I mean, it's common for kids to like be in elementary school and still be staying in the same room with their parents, or maybe even the same bed, right? Until maybe they're like 10 years old or something.
Like for me, when I was a kid, our house wasn't that big, but since we had 3 kids, we used to sleep together in the same room. We call it a kawanoji. We sleep like a kawanoji, means sleep next to each other.
So I think one of the differences in Japan is they don't have beds, they have futon mattresses. So you have kind of like this bedroom with tatami mats. People just lay out their futon mattresses and not just like beds just lined up, right? like in an orphanage.
Yeah, it's on the ground. It's on the
It's
floor.
on the ground.
Yeah. In our case, like we moved. My parents built a new house when I was in like early elementary school. That's when I got my room. So like I think it really depends on the family. Like when you get your own room. Usually like it happens in elementary school or junior high at the latest, I think.
We'll decide as he gets old. He's almost 6 months now, so we'll see. So this one kind of piggybacks off that one. It's taking a bath with your parents, especially the opposite sex.
Yeah, that's definitely not common in America.
So for example, right now we're just giving him a bath separately, but I think at the age of maybe 3 to 4 months, that's when parents start to take baths with their kids like that young, and they'll like soak them in the bath and they'll give them a bath together. But this like continues on, and the facts show here that all the way up until maybe age 10, 22% of moms and sons take baths together. And then like when they're 12, 14%, all the way up to 15 years old, like 3%. That's 3 out of 100 kids will like take a bath with their mom at 15 years old.
You'd be shocked
Yeah.
as a Japanese as well.
I'm pretty shocked.
Yeah, as a Japanese as
Okay.
well. That happens.
This one was kind of weird. It says over 20 years old, 6%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty shocking. Yeah, so the next one is father and daughter up to 8 years old. It says 14%, and then to 10 years old, 25% still take baths with their dad. How old were you when you took a bath with your dad? What was the age?
小学校年少かな年中かな I actually don't remember, but I remember like I felt kind of weird.
Yeah, that's one of the things. How does that compare to your country? Let me know in the comments. So this
Doesn't
one is
happen.
kind of more a general thing when they're growing up and how to kind of teach them or correct your child when they do something wrong, and just like kind of show them the way. In Japan, typically they show a lot
beautiful.
more
Kire.
empathy teaching
Kire.
their children. So for example, instead of like saying, oh, you did something wrong, you're gonna get arrested, it's more of like, how is that gonna make the other kids feel when you take their toys or you do something, right? So it's like more of a show of like empathy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
When I
that
grew
is
up,
so
how
true.
My mother taught me what I was doing wrong is usually to think of other people's feelings. He's hurt, right? You
Yeah.
don't want to do that. Or let's say
That's
I was
true, though.
screaming
I've experienced
and jumping
that.
around in like a public place, and then my mother would be like, "Don't bother people." You know, like not only the feelings, but
Yeah.
also like you don't want to bother other people. And we say like 迷惑をかけない.
So it's like how it's gonna make others feel. So you don't want to kind of disturb harmony. You don't want to disturb like the peace. Everyone is quiet.
Always think about others.
Hmm.
Life thing.
It's not like, oh, you're gonna get arrested.
No.
You're breaking the rules.
No, she never said that.
I think it's great to be able to get along with a group, but then at the same time, as someone that's always trying to get along with a group, you kind of lose your opinion and your thoughts, and so you don't actually think on your own. You're always thinking, okay, what does the group want to think? Maybe we have to kind of have a mix in there so that our son has kind of also, considers the group and is empathetic and wants the best for the group, but also has own opinions about things, and maybe we'll be okay to kind of stick out once in a while.
Yeah, totally. I think, to be honest, like me growing up, always have to think about others. I have to put others' feeling before what I want to do. So I never get to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That sucks. So it's like, oh, I feel bad for her, so I guess I'm not gonna do that. You know, that kind of thing. That will like lose your personality or lose your identity. Does it make sense?
Individuality.
You develop your own uniqueness.
Yeah.
So another interesting thing about Japanese culture and raising kids is that discipline is not only from parents, but it's also from groups, meaning that you go to school or you join
Island
clubs.
conservative
and
cultures as
discipline
well.
is kind of like shared throughout the community. So it's not just from your parents, which could be a good and bad thing, I guess. Maybe in some cultures you're like, no, the parents are the ones that are responsible for the discipline. But in Japan,
I know in
it's
my
kind of
island
a
culture,
shared
Jamaican
communal
culture,
thing.
yeah,
I
definitely.
feel like as I grew up, I was always in the environment that I have followed the rule. That applies at school, the club, after school. So I think if you're in Japan, you're naturally gonna be disciplined.
Yeah. I think what's also interesting is even as a little kid in school, you clean all together. I'll be walking by like nurseries and I'll see like kids literally wiping down the entrance of the school.
That's something that
And,
we
like,
American
wiping
kids
down,
need to
like,
do or need to learn for
a
sure.
nursery or
I
something.
know it's just quite. I feel like I started in elementary school.
Okay.
But yeah, but it's good to learn how to be responsible for your own room.
The kids were like could barely stand, and they were like, what? They were like, they were teaching them how to like wipe the windows and like.
They're probably not like cleaning the
No. They were terrible at
But
cleaning.
Yeah, they're learning.
They're learning, so
So cute.
they teach them at like such a young age. I guess to sum it all up, the parents don't have to discipline the child by themselves. They have the community, they have the schools, they have the circles, they have the clubs to help discipline. So this one was another surprising thing, especially just walking around in Tokyo, which is like one of massive city, is seeing kids walk to school by themselves. And
Because
they're
Japan
small,
is
they're
safe.
probably like 5 or 6 years old, and they're walking to school by themselves in the city. Not only are they walking, but they're taking the trains, right? They're taking the buses, and they're all by themselves. Shoot, Wolfie, when he's 5 years old, we're gonna let him like walk around the city all by himself. When you were growing up, did you walk around by yourself?
I really countryside, and there's like other big kids in that like close neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we meet out in the morning and then we all go together. And there's always big kids watch out for little kids.
Yeah.
So I think it was pretty safe.
In that case, like the kids walked in like as a group.
Right.
It wasn't like they were individuals.
So
but I've
they were
seen
protecting
cases
each
where I've
other.
seen kids just like by
In
themselves.
Tokyo, on the train and the bus,
Yeah.
I see them all of them all by themselves.
Yeah, we'll have to see whether or not that's going to be okay for us. But yeah, it seems relatively safe. Like,
Yeah,
it'll be
it's
okay.
okay.
And I mean, good thing we put that GPS tracker in his.
どこに入ってんのよ。
And this next one was kind of a pleasant surprise, and it's how healthy kids eat here in Japan, right?
Very healthy.
Very healthy.
Very healthy.
Compared to the States.
Compared to the States, yeah. I don't know about other countries and what they serve
まあそうだね。
for lunch. Yeah, so in Japan, they have kyushoku. Do you want to explain a little bit more about it?
So kyushoku is usually served for elementary school and junior high, maybe
Yeah.
some high school. I don't know, maybe not. Like 92% or something of the schools are using it. So like basically almost all of the schools
Mhm.
are using kyushoku, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very balanced. The
Yeah.
menu changes every single day, and they have that eiyoshi.
Yeah.
American school food is
Nutrition.
terrible, unhealthy,
Every
not good
month
for you at all.
Whole month, every month, the kyushoku company actually cooks it and serves it.
Yeah. So like, exactly, what would you have?
So what you get in kyushoku, it's very balanced. Usually carbs, soup, and main dish, and like side dishes. I actually don't remember exactly, but for example, like white rice with like green peas on top,
Yeah.
and miso soup with mushroom, tofu, and seaweed in it. Main dish would be hambabu,
Yeah.
and side dish would be like horenso no gomae,
Yeah.
spinach and sesame,
Mhm.
and some kind of pickles or something.
It wouldn't be the same every day. They would just alternate throughout the week. So you have like
Yeah.
entire months like worth of menu.
Yeah, every day is different. And and you get gyunyu.
And milk. And what's interesting is that the monthly fee for that is about
Oh, it's so cheap.
yeah, 4,300 on average.
Something
Right.
like that. Yeah.
That's for
It's
elementary
less.
school, and then about 4,900 yen for
Yeah.
junior high. I could just
安いよね。
yeah,
I wanna get that too. It's so cheap.
yeah. It's because they're producing meals for 92% of the schools in Japan, right? Because they make it in volume.
Yeah.
Mm.
Moms don't have to think of the menu every single day or like
Yeah.
cook. Making the
Which is
bento
very good.
Such a work.
Very good.
But that's still something that they do. Like a lot of moms will still make the bento.
I know. They do, but like on weekends or 保育園と高校じゃないかな。
Yeah.
義務教育で給食 is provided.
So yeah, I just remember in my school we had like pizza and like a cheeseburger, and potato tots,
Hamburger,
and
mac and
cheeseburger was,
cheese,
like,
tacos.
small and not very delicious.
School's trying to kill you.
Yeah, it was just the most unhealthy food.
Greasy.
I'm glad that
Severely
he has
unhealthy.
like healthy options, but if we
So,
decide
nah.
to make food for him, then that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think just overall it teaches kids like good food education, right?
そうだね。
And so
Yeah.
they know
Kawaii,
that,
man. They got a
this is
cute
not
baby.
good for me. Like I shouldn't be eating.
I
you know.
think at least you think the kyushoku as a standard,
Yeah.
like not healthy but standard food, like what you should have in a meal.
And then I think this last one is maybe will haunt us if Wolfie ever watches this video. Is it's not out of the ordinary for kids to grow up with their parents and live with them after they graduate from high school and college.
Most Eastern cultures do that.
In fact, 18 to 34-year-old single men, about 69% of them still live with their parents.
Not
I think
Westerners,
women,
though.
it's about
We like to
18
kick
or
our children out the
19%.
house.
It's common. I mean, 34 years old and still living with your parents is quite a big deal in some other like Western countries.
Yeah.
But in Japan, it's normal.
I wouldn't get surprised if somebody tells me like, oh, I live with my parents. You'd be like, oh, okay. But like Western person would have a different reaction, right?
Yeah.
Pretty interesting video. I learned some stuff. Definitely think that Japan has a more mature culture that can cultivate that kind of behavior within Japanese children. I think Western culture is a lot more individual and a lot more dangerous. So certain things that they would do in the West or in Japan, they couldn't do in America, for example. But let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section below. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, also hit that bell as well to get notified whenever we post a video. Hontou, arigatou gozaimasu. Mina, 気をつけて。じゃあね。